Hold on. So, who are you?
My name's John Merrill. I'm the program manager for programmability. And the program manager for programmability with Exchange. My responsibility is the store access APIs for Exchange in our next generation of products.
Wow. Well, you're the first Exchange guy we've had on Channel 9, so thanks for coming over. We're here in my office, right? So we're...
Well, my office is not pretty. I mean,
neither's mine. Look at this messy office. So what's hot about what Exchange is used by everybody here, and I used to use it at NEC, which had 115,000 employees, and
about 52+% of all business mailboxes are run on Exchange now.
Wow.
According to Gartner, which is the lowest number of the major consultancy firms. Almost everybody uses Exchange, they just don't know it, because a lot of people use something which talks to Exchange. Older versions of SharePoint services talk to Exchange. Everybody who uses Active Directory uses the same database we use, because the Active Directory code is actually forked from the older Exchange code.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, so tell me a little bit about what Exchange is, just in case there's somebody out there who doesn't know what Exchange is.
Exchange is the world's best personal information management store. We handle electronic mail, we handle calendaring, we handle tasks, we handle contacts. You name it, if it involves what you do in your daily work, your email, the people you call, the people you talk to, the things you have to do, and the places you need to be, it goes through us.
Wow. I can tell you've gotten that question a few times.
How much guess?
So, what are the 3 things we'll notice when we first fire up Exchange 12?
How cool OA is, and how great the new web services are.
All right. OA is?
OA is Outlook Web Access.
Okay.
It's an Outlook companion.
It's already cool in the current version.
Man, it has nothing on 12. It is so cool in 12. And it's fast. It puts everything else to shame.
Now, will I ever need to get rid of Outlook or be able to get rid of Outlook because of OA?
We never need to get rid of Outlook.
Or would you?
Actually, a lot of our customers have a number of OA-only clients. When you buy Exchange, part of getting Exchange Cal is getting an Outlook, the client access license.
Yeah.
But a lot of our customers have people that use OA as their only or their primary access form. It's much lighter weight.
Yeah.
It doesn't involve the kind of connectivity that Outlook has,
right,
which is very different in 2003 than it was in the past, but still, it is much more flexible. I can use it from any web kiosk anywhere.
Yeah.
And get to my mail, get to my calendar.
Yeah, I used it this morning because my wife's computer was on and mine wasn't. So I signed on her computer, got onto the web page, and sent you email saying I'm going to be late. So.
Right, I was sitting in another meeting, and I actually picked it up through OA on my laptop and answered.
Yeah. So, what a crazy world. What's so much better about it? I mean, does it work in... First of all, OA really works best in IE right now. Does it work in other browsers now, or have you focused on that at all?
OA has always worked in other browsers.
Okay.
There are 2 versions of Outlook Web Access, at least since about 2003.
Yeah.
There's the premium client, which still only works in Internet Explorer, and will only work in Internet Explorer, at least that's our plans now in 12. And then there's the basic client. I'm going to demo the premium client.
Okay.
I could demo the basic client if you want me to, and if you want me to, I'll be happy to go back and do that again. They're both really lovely.
Yeah.
I'm going to demo the premium client because it's a more interesting experience.
Let's see it.
All right.
Yeah. So this is IE6?
This is IE7, actually. This is the IE7 beta.
But you don't need IE7, right?
No, this works on IE5. This is my real honest-to-goodness laptop that I carry to meetings with me every day.
Okay.
So it has all the kinds of weird beta apps that a good program manager is running as part of being a program manager.
Yep.
So first, notice that this is running in a tab in IE. I'm going to send mail from... I have an instance of Exchange running on this laptop in a virtual machine.
Okay.
So I'm going to send mail from one of the 2 users on that instance.
You sign in. So we could be on any machine in the world on a.
Well, in fact, this is a completely unusual browser, right? This is IE7.
Yeah.
It has XML HTTP. This is an AJAX app. The first AJAX app ever actually was Outlook Web Access for Windows 2000 for Exchange 2000.
Yep.
I mean, that was. So this is just an AJAX app running in any browser.
Yep. And it looks a lot like the desktop Outlook, right? Yeah.
It does. It looks a great deal like the desktop Outlook.
You got folders and you got email. Okay.
And that's actually a neat meeting invitation, and I'll show you in a minute what it is. But you can see I'm going to send an email from... Oh, look! I'm going to send it to Jane Public. Now notice that is popped up on the screen. That was done from the server.
Ooh. So that's different than the old version. The old version you'd have to hit Alt-K or something like that.
So this automatically connects. More than that, not only does it automatically connect, you're editing live in the bucket.
Okay.
I can delete that and do it again. And it works.
Okay. And it has a nice WYSIWYG writing environment.
And it's beautiful. You can do all the kinds of cool... It says HTTP mail. It does handle plain text if you wanted to. We could actually... One of the things that we've added in this version is the ability to force it into plain text rather than it sending HTTP.
Oh, really?
Which is convenient with some clients.
Yeah.
I'm going over to Jane's...
Yeah, if you're sending a message to my cell phone, it's...
Exactly. If I'm sending a message to your cell phone, something like that. And there's the email from John.
Okay.
Now notice how fast this is. I'm going to go over and look at Jane's calendar. There it is.
Whoa. Is it going to be that fast on even Microsoft servers?
It is that fast on Microsoft servers.
Because I'll tell you, when I fired up it this morning, it took at least 8 seconds to...
Well, here, let me show you something then.
Now, is it caching in the background at all?
There's some of that is cached.
Ah.
So it's actually caching some of the iframes on the client browser. That's the standard way you make AJAX apps really responsive, is to cache as much as possible. But the cache is very intelligent. There's a lot of cleaning up that happens online. It does a lot of refreshing. We're adopting one of the technologies that's been introduced in Exchange Active Sync in Exchange 2003 SP2, so-called direct push, where even non-addressable clients behind a firewall can get notifications of changes pushed to them.
Okay.
So that the OA screen will appear a lot more live than it did before.
Wow.
Let me show you something just for fun. Let's type the URL correctly. Now we'll see if my email server may be down because they're actually supposed to upgrade it and put a new build on there, and so this may not be possible right this second. Okay. But that's my email server, and nope, it's down right this second. Let's see if we can get it this way. Maybe possible to get it this way. Nope, I'm down.
Yeah.
Too bad. I'd love to show that. That's my email runs on Exchange 12, and that is how I actually read email from home.
So are you finding you're using the regular Outlook client less and less now? Or?
Well, in fact, at home, I don't run Windows at home on my main machine. So
we're going to have to bring you in for the Steve Ballmer chair throwing or something.
Yeah, exactly. I wear special chair throwing armor when I'm in my office.
Sorry, Steve. I have fun with Steve.
Yeah, actually, I run a different browser and a somewhat different...
I bet you use Firefox, right?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, see. The Exchange team was demoing InfoPath on Firefox. It was rocking.
Yeah, we Premium doesn't work on Firefox, but I can use Basic.
Now the calendar looks a lot better, too.
The calendar is just gorgeous.
So what else is cool in Exchange?
Cool in Exchange, I think, is the new web services. Now, Exchange loves developers.
Okay.
we love developers. We give developers APIs.
Okay.
So far, we've given developers 42 different APIs in the 16 years that Exchange has had a product on the market since Exchange 4.0.
Okay.
The developers have found that confusing.
Yeah.
And they found it hard to write against some of them.
Right.
So in Exchange 12, we're adding a new API, a web service API,
Okay.
using a SOAP web service
Okay.
to communicate with the server.
Okay.
I've got here a little app that uses it.
Okay. So you just hit F5.
Just hit F5 to start it. This would run outside the browser, but
security debugging option.
oh, that's interesting.
So you sign in. So this little C# app you wrote?
A little C# app. What's cool about this C# app is that it's built by just importing a proxy. So
Okay.
we imported the web services definition language file from the server, and that just run the proxy.
Okay.
And so all this code is based on auto-generated code. So there's an entire file full of all the things you need to do, which handles all the HTTP, all the authentication, everything, which is done entirely automatically.
Okay. Is there going to be a developer center for Exchange so that developers can figure out how to build this stuff into their...
Yes, it's actually going to be real shit. This looks a lot like Outlook, doesn't it?
Yeah. It looks like the WinForms app.
It's the WinForms app. It is in fact the WinForms app. It's
The WinForms team showed me how to build an Outlook copy.
Right. This is the Outlook copy. It's different from theirs only in that it actually talks to a live web server.
Oh, it actually works.
That's right.
It just doesn't look like an Outlook.
So you saw before in John Doe's OA, this little frame, this gravitational investigation at Will's Run Country Club.
Yeah.
I think it involves golf. I'm going to show you how you accept a meeting in Exchange 12.
Okay. So you're stepping through
So
the
I'm stepping through the code, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm stepping through the code. I got the meeting request that I just got sent.
Yeah.
I'm going to create an item. I have now accepted the meeting. It took 4 lines of code to accept that meeting.
Wow.
Now, usually when I'm doing a public demo, I then go over to MSDN, and I open up the example for doing this through DAV,
Okay.
which is the only comparable API. And it's about 200 lines long. And it's really hard to understand. It's really easy to understand creating an object
Yep.
and sending it through the mail.
I almost might be able to code this.
Oh, I don't believe that, Robert. So
This is cool stuff. So now, I didn't understand where that code came from again.
So let me show you how we created that. I actually have a little better example here.
Okay.
I'll actually show you how to create a web proxy object.
Okay.
So let me create a new project. This is the 2005, the Visual Studio 2005 RC release candidate that was released at PDC.
Yeah.
I want to call it Console Application 11. And I'm going to import a web reference here.
Okay.
Add web reference.
Yeah.
And the URL is http:/. Now, in a real environment, of course, this would be a secure channel. I'm not using SSL because there's an IPsec connection between me and the back end.
Okay.
But I'm going to get an alert box saying this isn't encrypted. It is. Don't worry.
That's a good question because a lot of people are using OWA now in at Starbucks, on Wi-Fi networks. How secure? Because I've met with some hackers who can watch all the packets going between my Wi-Fi computer and the router, right?
Absolutely.
At Starbucks.
Absolutely.
So how secure is it? If that guy is watching all those packets, can he read my email? Can he see my passwords?
Well, at Starbucks, it's actually secure because Starbucks has an SSL network in each
Okay.
coffee shop, and the reason you should do that is because if it's an SSL network, in fact, they use WPA, and WPA is one of these three-letter acronym kinds of things. It's a protected access mode, and so the packets on the wire are encrypted, and the hacker, the cracker, can't read them.
Okay.
If you go over a wireless network and you're going unencrypted, then you are showing your data to the world.
Right.
But this is a secure connection because it's not going anywhere.
So in my house, if my Wi-Fi network is open to the public and not using encryption, don't you guys encrypt between OWA and the server?
We do. Between OWA and the server, well, it's a little complicated. OWA's running inside your browser.
Right. So
when you connect from OWA to the server, the browser says, "Oh, whatever."
Okay.
Right?
But you're hitting an HTTPS server,
not unless you specify it. There are.
In Microsoft, I use HTTPS //
Right. So if you're going to HTTPS, then it's secure, and that's the other thing about OWA. If you go through HTTPS, everything on the wire is encrypted all the way back and forth.
Got it.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question.
Yeah.
Yes, if you go through HTTP over SSL, HTTPS, then it's going to be secure.
Okay.
If you're going through HTTP and it's not encrypted, and you're not on an encrypted link, then the connection is insecure, and you should be a little more careful.
Okay. What other are there any other tips when you're using a shared public computer? You know, at a library, for instance. You know, is it leaving anything there that somebody else could read, particularly if they have desktop search loaded or stuff like that?
In Exchange 12, we're going to be running OWA in what we call leave no trace mode.
Okay.
So that you can go in, and when you close down, there is no trace left. In 2003, if you log off, there's essentially no trace.
Okay.
So it is safe to use OWA in a public environment in Exchange 2003.
Okay.
It will be even safer in Exchange 12.
Okay. Even if you don't log out, you still should log off the system, right?
You should always log off the system.
Yeah.
The way Exchange 12 will default is that after a finite period of time, typically 15 minutes, but it's configured by the server's controller, the session becomes dead.
Okay.
So you can't do anything, and you'll get back, hey, you need to relog in if you don't do anything. As a rule, it's best to log off, because otherwise you've left, if somebody walks up a minute after you, who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like locking your workstation when you walk away. You should just do it.
Yep. I just wanted to get that in because I've seen some people leave their server or their page up and running and walk away and go get a coffee or something, and somebody can sit down and...
one of my colleagues at some point got an email from himself, reputing to be from me, when he'd done that. I can't understand how that happened.
It's always fun to mess with your coworkers.
Well, I did something.
I heard some executives actually go around Microsoft looking for people who've not logged off their system and send them funny emails.
Yeah, I've heard people getting emails from like Steve Ballmer and Bill Gates, and I can't imagine that somebody else might send the email on behalf of Steve or Bill.
For those who don't know, the Windows key and L will lock you off.
Yes, this is the best way to lock your machine. Lock, Windows, L, and your machine is locked. Yeah,
and then you can go to lunch,
Safely.
If you leave your machine open, anybody can use it. And you forgot your password. We're not going to get back in your machine.
Well, I always know when I'm about to do something involving a demo.
Yeah.
Because my password gets changed by Microsoft Security.
Yeah. So what are you doing here?
So I'm just logging in as John Doe here.
Okay.
Into the...
So we're back to the code demo.
Yes,
sorry for
back to
minimizing you there.
Right. So what I've just done, what that did was download what's called a WSDL, a Web Services Definition Language file.
Okay.
The way SOAP Web Services work, there's a file on the server which specifies the contract between any client and the server. What can be sent, what can be received, what the parameter formats are, what the valid XML format is. It's kind of like the way things like RSS work, except RSS, the schema, the contractual language, the language the client and the server talk, is specified by a document in this case, I think it's W3C. I don't think this is an IETF. Right?
Yep.
If I've got a server that has an extension to RSS, there's no easy way to explain what that extension is to a client. What WSDL does is it says, okay, here's what I talk, here's what I accept, here's my expected language, my contract. It's essentially a contract between the server and the client saying, if you talk this way, I'll understand you, and here's what I'll reply. Yep. And so what you can do if you have that, because that's a standard, is present that on your server. The client comes into the server, gets the WSDL, and now if you look here, you'll see there's this list of methods.
And this is in Visual Studio.
This is inside Visual Studio. There are a variety of tools.
Now this shows you the entire API here?
This shows you the entire call API.
Okay.
Because it's HTML, there's another side of the API you don't need to care about in here, which is how the server responds. What the WSDL says is, if you call me with this web method, I'll reply with a packet like this.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So what you got here is...
So if like one of these is what? Create a folder. Mm-hmm. So if I hit that API, it'll actually reply with something.
It'll reply with a create folder response.
Yep. So
why don't we do that?
Cool.
So I add the reference, and now over here you'll see that. Oh look, I've got a web reference.
Yep.
I can go over here and actually expand this, and you'll see that it's got all these fairly complicated things. But there's, for instance, create folder and create folder type.
Yep.
And it takes a set of folders.
And it shows you how to write it.
And it shows you how to write it.
Yep.
And it shows what it's contained, what it contains.
Yep.
And now comes the fun part. I can go in here using console. I should turn off
caps.
Yeah, console application 11 dot that namespace.
Yep.
I love autocomplete, and now I can actually just go ahead and create things. I happen to know that oh look, and it completes stuff for me.
Yep. Because of the WSDL, it knows.
It knows exactly what the parameters are. It handles all the HTML, the XML construction, handles all the HTTP negotiation.
Yep.
If I were working against Indigo, it could set up the right channel. It could talk over SMTP across a custom TCP/IP channel, whatever.
How much of Exchange's functionality is shared through this API?
All of it.
Okay.
All of the Be very careful here. All of the functionality that involves data stored in the store. So that's all the mail, all the rules, all the folders, delegation. That's so your secretary can, like your administrative assistant can create meetings on your behalf, can accept meetings. That's called delegation.
Yep.
All of that is exposed to the web services. There are two other big new APIs in Exchange.
Okay.
We're replacing our SMTP stack. Previously, what's SMTP?
Yeah, but why? What does that get you?
All right, so SMTP is the protocol used across the internet to send mail, and we and Windows have shared one for many years. In fact, going back some years. Exchange is writing a new SMTP stack entirely in managed code.
I didn't know that.
In fact, the entire Exchange development environment is moving to managed code in this version. Hence, all this stuff being written in C#.
Yep.
We're writing a new one in it which has a much richer eventing and hooking structure. So if I want to, say, write a virus scanning app, I could write an antivirus app that hooks into SMTP and catches every virus-laden email. Now, what's cool about Exchange 12 here is that every mail sent through the system, from one place to another, whether from the outside or from the inside, goes through the SMTP stack. So this makes it possible to track compliance.
Yep.
If you want to make sure that every document that contains hot deal on and private information and this and that gets snagged, you can do it.
Yeah.
If you want to do all your antivirus scanning, you can do it. If you want to do all your anti-spam scanning, you can do it. You can do everything through SMTP. It also means that things like people who want to do things like put signatures and disclaimer agents, they work. In Exchange 2000,
that's a question I've always wanted to ask. Is there any way to check if my boss is reading my email? You can see where is Bill Gates reading my email? I don't think so, because he'd be really bored. But
I can't imagine anyone wanting to read my email. It's like 200 emails a day of the build just succeeded.
Yeah. I don't think there is. If somebody has admin rights to Exchange.
If somebody has admin rights to any mail server, Exchange is not unique here.
Yeah.
The answer is no, you can't. In fact, in some environments, that's actually rather important.
Yeah.
Because if you've got cases where, for legally mandated reasons, you have to be monitoring somebody's email, you don't necessarily, as the administrator, you aren't necessarily allowed to let them know.
Yeah.
That's it. Remember, your corporate email account is not your own property. Yeah. Your email you send through your corporate email account is not yours. It belongs to the company.
Yeah.
And it's a reality in the modern business world that it can be monitored.
Oh yeah, I know. At TechEd, there's a whole company who sells a system to let your boss go through and search on it, and
I find that it's very creepy. They don't do that here, except as far I know of no case where it's been done here. I know that there are subpoenas where we would have to.
Yeah.
But we don't do it as a matter of policy. We not only do not do it, but as a matter of policy, we actively avoid monitoring email at Microsoft. Yeah. But not every company works that way.
No.
It makes my skin crawl. But
it's there, and it's useful to warn people. Hey, when you send email through your corporate networks, you could be read. Whether you are or not, you really don't know. But
in fact, if you're in certain professions, not only can you be, you will be. Yeah. Right? If you are in certain financial professions, they will journal your email, and they're required to by law.
Yeah, some of the executives here, by the way, are required to turn over all their email to courtrooms, right?
Exactly. Well, in fact, there's a collection of people who, under the consent decree, the DOJ consent decree or the European Union consent decree, we journal all their email.
Yeah. Interesting. So, what else do I need to know about Exchange 12? Anything else that's changed about it that we'll notice?
People who administer Exchange 12 will notice the new change. I want to show you the Exchange 12 administration console. It's brand new for Exchange 12.
Okay. So you're using virtual server?
I'm using virtual server. It's actually running on a virtual server on my machine.
Yeah, and that's why your machine's a little slow.
That's one of the reasons.
It's one of the Toshiba M200s.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. So you're just signing into your virtual machine there.
Right. No, I'm not. I'm mistyping the password, it looks like.
You get 3 tries.
It locks me out. Oh, I know why. I don't know if you read Adam Barr's posting on doing the Monad demo.
Yep.
He had the same problem I had. Typed the wrong password into the progenitor of this virtual machine. So I want to show you the Exchange Management Shell in Exchange 12.
It's a little slow to react. Yeah, maybe we want that.
Give it a moment to wake up.
Oh, there he went.
There it went. All right, so here it is.
Okay.
Looks white, doesn't it?
Yeah. Very white.
Very white. And it will stay looking white. Eventually, it'll come up its command line.
Okay. That's a simplistic interface.
That is. No, that's not a simplistic interface. Well, as soon as it comes up, I'll show you how to list all the mailboxes on here, just to give you a sense of what this. Our management interface is Monad.
Yeah.
So we're going to be adopting the Microsoft Shell as our management interface for E12. It's extensible, again, in C#, in your favorite managed.NET language. It's very flexible. We've had a lot of problems in the past where customers have found that it's a little hard to manage large farms through a GUI.
Right.
We will be providing a GUI just as we do now.
Okay.
But unlike the past, where the GUI was not necessarily as powerful as the
So you're just getting a mailbox here. Getting all your mailboxes, essentially.
I've gotten everything. I've gotten every format. I formatted it as a table, every field of every mailbox that has the character's name in it.
Okay.
So every piece of Exchange's administration will be run through this
command line
interface.
And that's Monad, right?
That's Monad.
Yeah, we're interviewing him actually. I think next. So
oh, cool.
I'll have to see the Monad demo.
So,
but it's cool stuff.
Yes, it is.
For an administrator, how was it done in the old world, and what kind of time savings do you get with this new world?
For an administrator, everything was done through MMC. Okay. For a smaller farm, MMC is the right way to go, because if you're doing one or two things, you're doing things retail, having the multi-paned MMC interface is the way to go. Unfortunately, I don't have the E12 GUI installed on my machine. If you're managing a farm of more than a small number of sites, though, particularly if they're physically distributed, so that you've got stuff in here and in Bangalore and in Santiago, and there are companies that have that kind of arrangement where the email central control is one of those three places. It's really hard to run a GUI across a very long latency link. So being able to run stuff through a shell is a big win. Also, if you can't get places physically, it's easier to script a command line, create a script, and just ship the script over and have it all happen remotely.
Got it.
So it's a lot easier.
Yeah. Very cool. Any performance improvements in Exchange 12?
Yes. Exchange 12 will support 64-bit machines.
Okay.
By that we mean it will run on x64, the 64-bit extensions of the x86. We will not be supporting Itanium in Exchange 12.
Okay.
On an x64 machine, it will be much less expensive to maintain and back up the servers, because one of the things we're doing is making it possible to do incremental constant backup.
Okay.
Via a modifier from a log shipping. In Microsoft IT, for instance, MSIT.
Yeah, I'm just going to open the door. It's getting
a little warm in here, yes.
Yeah.
I'm full of hot air.
No, it gets hot air.
In MSIT,
yeah,
we're hoping to go from backing up our databases every night.
Maybe that's a bad idea. Sorry.
We're hoping to go from backing up our databases every night to backing up our databases once a week.
Okay.
That's a huge administrative task off the table. It also means that since you can do a seventh of the databases every night, you narrow the window when you're doing formal backup, which is also a good thing. We are planning on reducing the cost of mailboxes.
Okay.
Right now, our mail.
How would you do that?
By using more memory in core and less memory on the disk.
Yeah.
You move from.
There's my phone. Sorry.
You move from needing a fast disk to being able to buy more standard disks.
Okay.
So you can run, in principle, on an ordinary RAID array, which is not very easy with an Exchange site now. Okay. For many sites, that will mean an order of magnitude reduction in the per
machine cost or
per byte of mailbox storage cost. One of the things we're hoping to do is have everybody in the Exchange team and in much of Office running with guaranteed 2 gigabyte mailboxes.
Yay!
For about $5 a mailbox in hardware, which is a huge improvement. And of course, when we say 2 gigabyte mailboxes, we don't mean a maximum of 2 gigabytes and 95% of your mailboxes are fewer than 10 megs. Most of us have 2 gigabyte mailboxes with 2 gigabytes of stuff in it.
I could take up 10, so but I'm stuffing RSS into my mailbox. So
yeah, well. So the other thing that we're doing is we're improving our search story dramatically, so that it's very possible to do very fast, very deep searches against the server. So if I want to search for everything with the words Robert Scoble in it, I open up OA and type Robert Scoble into the find page, and it'll find everything that mentions you in a matter of a few seconds against a fairly heavily loaded server.
Very cool. Is it starting to do relevancy lookups on searches, or because obviously if Bill Gates sent me a personal email or sent you a personal email mentioning me, that probably would be a little bit higher in the
relevancy scale. That's not a planned feature right now because we are running over a rather older form. We're not running over the most recent MSN code, which has a lot more relevancy built into it. I mean, they've done a lot of work in the last couple months. We're a server product. We have a rather longer time frame. We started building our context indexing a while ago.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else?
No, that's fine.
That's it, huh?
That's all I got to say. Isn't that enough?
Yeah. But Exchange is a pretty fun product.
It's a great product.
It's one that we don't touch it directly a lot, but we certainly use it a lot.
Well, trust me, when an Exchange server fails for whatever reason at Microsoft, we hear about it, and a lot of our customers care about it a lot. It's something where when I do talk to customers, and particularly administrators, there's a lot of pain in a modern enterprise or in a modern small business, in modern any business these days.
Yep.
When email goes down.
Well, it's not just email. My calendar's in there. My contacts are in there. My whole life is in there.
Well, in fact,
really, Outlook has become an operating system in of itself. I mean, I keep all my files in there that I'm working on because, I can get to them from any computer again.
That's one of the other cool features we're introducing in OA. I can't demo it from here because of the setup, but we're actually going to be. It's going to be possible to get to data in publicized places.
Okay.
So that if your company chooses to expose data, you'll be able to get it through OA in a very efficient way, just as you can from other sources.
Right. People might not know this, by the way. If I emailed you a 2 megabyte file, right? Or if I emailed it, even better, a mailing list of, let's say, 50 employees here at Microsoft.
One copy.
Well, that's where I was going, because older versions of Exchange about 5 or 10 years ago used to send 50 copies of that 2 meg file around, right? Now it's
it's been about 12 to 15 years since. The older Unix mailers didn't do what's called single instancing. If you send an email in Exchange, we make really one copy of it in the database. And we share that copy among all recipients until and unless somebody changes their version. So we basically do copy on write. It's a big deal from a storage space because, again, it's not uncommon that somebody does send a 200 megabyte PowerPoint to 15 people. That's a lot of storage. And if you make one copy, it's a lot less.
Yep, that's true. So I know some people, customers still think that we don't make one more than. They still think that that's bad to do, but now that it's making one copy, it's much better.
Yeah, making one copy is a great save. It saves a lot of space. And
Are there any other myths about Exchange that we should cover that you hear from customers from time to time? Sorry about my phone. Somebody's trying to get a hold of me.
The big myth I get, which is that people believe that Exchange is unstable. We run Exchange here at Microsoft. It is our email lifeblood. And it just doesn't crash very often.
No. I've worked here 2.5 years, and my email's never been unavailable. So
that's the SLA they keep. I will tell you that frequently whenever there is anything which looks like it might be an incident, someone on my team, frequently me, winds up finding out about it, and there aren't that many incidents. We've had 1 or 2 that I know of in the last year. Exchange is a very, very stable product built on a very, very stable platform. It's very secure. We've only had 3 security vulnerabilities in the 2.5 years since Exchange 2003 was released. It's secure, it's solid, it's fast, It's easy to maintain, and we're going to make it easier to maintain.
Yeah.
We're going to make it less expensive to run. It's already cheap to run. We're going to make it so cheap to run. And it's very flexible, and it's very powerful. And if you aren't running it, you should be.
Yeah. See our salespeople, right?
That's right. You see your Microsoft sales representative.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much
Thank you for your time.
spending 40 minutes with us. Thanks.